Hey everyone, this is Dr. Casey Johnson. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I know you're going to love today's episode with Puru Schout. Puru is doing some amazing work, so I'm excited to have him on to share a story with you guys. If you've been loving the Unlock Wellness podcast, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. The Unlock Wellness podcast is now on patreon.com. Patreon is an amazing site that allows you to support your favorite podcasts. You can learn more by going to patreon.com/Dr. Casey Johnson. There are even fun incentives for supporting, like shirts and stickers, so be sure to check it out. Also, be sure to follow me on social media to keep up with the latest podcast episodes. The best way to connect with me is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. My username across the board is at Dr. Casey Johnson. That's DrKaseyJohnsson. You can also check out my website at drcaseyjohnson.com. It has all of the past podcast episodes and more information about each guest under the Listen tab. While you're on my site, also be sure to check out the Shop tab where you can check out my first book of my Healthy Children's Book series and learn about the Unlock Wellness Project, which supplies a wellness bag to a child in need for each book purchased. Thank you again for listening. I hope this episode leaves you feeling inspired to start making positive changes to your health. Now it's time for today's episode. I hope you love my conversation with Puru Schout. Welcome to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I'm Dr. Casey and excited for today's guest. I'm here with Puru Schout, and Puru is a vegan bodybuilder and trainer and is doing so much positive work. So I'm excited to have him on to share a story with you guys. Puru, thank you so much for taking time to come on. I'm excited to have you.
Well, thank you for having me. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to be able to be here and talk with you. To be able to share my story and maybe inspire someone to go vegan or just minimize their animal intake.
I love it. And, Puru, just to get us going, if you want to jump into your backstory, first off, where you're from. And I know we have a little bit of time difference right now. And what's your health and wellness look like as a kid, just as you were growing up?
Okay. Well, first of all, where I'm from, I'm located in Holland. My dad is from Holland and my mother's from the Caribbean, so I'm mixed. And also, like, when I grew up, like, my dad was always like focused on health. Always, he has been. He did like crazy diets, like the blood type diet. He did things like that, and he always was like no sugar, this and that. So as like little kids, me and my little brother, we got like only sweets that had like no actual sugar in them. So that's we got a lot of dried fruits and stuff like that. And like all the other kids were like having all kinds of sweets. We're like, well, we want that as well. And like now, I'm like really happy to actually have had that kind of upbringing to bring me where I am right now. Because I wasn't vegan as a kid, or I wasn't vegetarian. I was eating meat, but not as much. Just was always little amounts. But I was just it was always focused around like being healthy. So that was always a point for me that where I wanted to come back to. Be like, okay, well, I'm doing this right now, but am I healthy? I wanna put my health first at all times.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's cool, because I'm sure that made your palate, just your taste palate, different too, growing up like that, not having to overload your system with a lot of sugar. Do you feel like that affected that as well?
Yeah, for sure. Like, as you said, that my taste palate, my taste buds, they surely have evolved because of that into something different than maybe someone with a more regular diet, more normal. Because I never had that much. And the funny thing is, like, when I turned 12, 13, and I had like a little bit of money for myself, I started buying a lot of stuff that was like really unhealthy, like buying a lot of chips, buying a lot of like energy drinks, and eating like really unhealthy, like because I was going to like high school and stuff. So yeah, that changed. And at some point when I turned like, what was it? I don't know, in between 14 and 16, I was like, well, this is not working actually how I wanted to. So I kind of changed it back to trying to go and eat more healthy again, and like stop with energy drinks and stop with all the chips and all the bad food. So yeah, but for sure, like I noticed a lot that when I talk about eating what I eat, and how like I like to eat some things, like a lot of people are like, whoa, well, I don't like water. I don't like drink water. Like, well, water is like the most bland thing there is. So how can you not like the taste? But and also like some people like I cannot eat salad. Salad is like I hate it so much. But like, well, what's wrong with salad? You know, like so that's kind of funny for me because I never had that kind of experience like a lot of other people have. But I can actually imagine like if you never eaten it, that like if you start eating it, it will taste funny to you. Because I actually never like ate pig's meat because it was because of my upbringing and like religion that my mom had, and we were like, well, never. We could not eat that. I was not Muslim, but I was I was Adventist actually.
Gotcha. Well, that's a commonly vegan religion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But here in Europe, it's not vegan. It's just no pig's meat.
Yeah.
But I know like in America it's commonly vegan, but here it's not. But well, yeah, that was something, and I knew that at some point I ate like some pig's meat. I just didn't like it. I never liked it actually because of that, and also we didn't get any dairy because we could not get any dairy because our bodies just rejected it, like my and my brothers. So we drink soy milk or other plant-based milks to our life.
So that part really worked for your advantage then, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So like a lot of people are like, well, the taste is different, this and that, and I was always like how some people just say cheese and think about like cheese made from cow's milk, and whenever I mentioned cheese, I always said like cheese cow's milk. I was like, that's cow cheese or that's goat cheese. That's
right.
The same thing as you say goat cheese, right? So that I was always like, that's cow's milk. It's not milk, that's cow's milk.
Yeah.
So that's a funny thing. But yeah, that's something that definitely had impact on where I am today. So I'm actually really happy about that.
Yeah. No, I would too. Like, it's funny you bring up the water thing. So I was just thinking about it yesterday because I have a 2-year-old daughter, and we had a friend here, and she mainly drinks water. I mean, pretty much water or smoothies is her beverage. So so she's drinking a lot of water, and the friend was like, "That's crazy that she drinks so much water." Like, or that she mainly drinks water. And like, for me, that was, or that she likes water that well or something like that. But it kind of was a weird statement to me because I'm like, that's like all we drink basically. And I don't know, but she's like in the educational system. So she sees a lot of these kids bringing in a lot of other beverages and not drinking water and things like that. But it's just, it blows my mind that that's not the norm because like you said, it's water, it's what our bodies are mainly made out of.
Made out of. So it's like it's almost crazy to not drink water like on the daily.
Yeah, that's crazy. So like, where did fitness play into that with all of you growing up?
Well, first of all, when I was like 10, 12 years old, and even before that, like my dad was always like pretty athletic. He was not like big like a bodybuilder or something like that, but he was always athletic. And so I always saw him having like some kind of type of just a good physique, like with some muscles on it. And then I saw some movies, this and that, and I was like, well, yeah, man, I want that too. I want to get big. I want to get strong. So then that was something that I dreamt about and I wanted to do eventually. But at that time, I still had this thought in my mind that if I started training before I had outgrown, I would stay small for the rest of my life because I was not that big as a kid. I was like pretty short until I was 16. I was like 160 centimeters. I don't know exactly how much that is or foot or inches. No idea. But after that, like I grew, but the funny thing is that like the whole thing about not growing is like it's a myth. Like I learned that already. It's not true. Like eventually your body will grow the way it's supposed to grow, the way it should grow, no matter if you're doing exercise, yes or no. So yeah, I waited until I was 18, and then I finally grasped that truth and was like, oh shit, I should have started early. I wanted to start early, but yeah, that's how that changed. And like before that, before I started like training when I was 18, I never really did sport. So I was always outside and playing like with friends, doing some football or soccer, or this and that, and but never really a sport because of the religion of my mom. I could not do sports on Saturday, right? And on Saturday was the day that all like the games were. So you train throughout the week, and then like the game to win against some other team was on Saturday. But that was with almost all the sports was that. So
Right.
it was like, okay, well, you forget about it. I'm not gonna just go and do only training
Right.
and not do a competition. I could not. That was something that was like, no, I'm not into that.
Yeah, that would be hard because you couldn't fully commit.
Yeah, you couldn't fully commit. So that's why I was like, okay, well, forget about it. I'll just do at home. Because when I was 12 though, I started doing like ab exercises from that moment on, and never really stopped until I was like, what was it, 24 or something. Then I did like ab exercise every day. And I know that when I first started like in the gym, I always started my workout or ended my workout with like 15 minutes abs, always. And like the funny thing is now I don't do it that often anymore because they're almost overdeveloped. But yeah, that was something I was like, okay, this I can still do. So yeah.
I love that. So that's cool. So like you eventually got into bodybuilding. So yeah. How did that come up? Was it just a friend introduced you to it, or somebody in the gym, or what got you interested in that? Or was that kind of the main goal from a young age because you knew you weren't going to do team sports?
Yeah, the main goal eventually was, I wanted to be healthy first of all, and secondly I wanted to be like athletic and everything, and also I wanted to be like big, like I told about like when I saw the movies Arnold, this and that. So it was not that I wanted to do like bodybuilding as a sport. I never really thought about that aspect actually. That never really grasped my interest or was not something that I was looking forward to. It was just like, well, I want to build my body how I want it, just because I want it that way, because I want to be healthy. I want to look big. I want to look good. So that's why I started. And like eventually 4 years in, I started talking to someone, and they were talking about, well, you should do bodybuilding, you should do competition because you look kind of good. And I think you have the genetics for it, this and that. So yeah, from that point onwards, I was still not doing bodybuilding, did not do any competition actually, because I was still like, not really feeling it. Then after a year later, I was like, okay, I want to do one competition just to try it out. But like the whole thing was, the dilemma I had was like, as being a natural athlete, and I know that like here in Holland, we have one division, and it's like tested, but it's not really tested.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you never know against what kind of competition we'll be standing. So I wanted to do it, but eventually it was like, okay, well, don't do it, because for me, I didn't want to do it for myself. I was just wanted to doing it because everyone was talking to me like, yeah, you have to do it. You can do it. It's good for you. This and that. So eventually I didn't do it. I was like 4 weeks out or something. And I was like, okay, stop not doing it. I was still eating meat at that point though. So I wasn't actually feeling really good because I was very low body fat, but I wasn't feeling really good. And then eventually the funny thing was, like, as I turned vegan, before I turned vegan, like a friend of mine was doing it a little bit, and he introduced me to it, and he started, and he was the one that at the same time, like in the past, wanted to do competitions as well, and we were doing it together, but he like dropped out because of health issues, and now he did it, and he won too, and it was like, well, shit, man, if I can do it, you have to do it. I was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, well, first of all, I'm gonna do the vegan thing, and then we'll see. So I started going like fully vegan. I transitioned just like that. So everything out and all vegan in. And after like a month, I was like, feeling really good. And then I was like, okay, I want to do this competition thing, and I want to see exactly how good this vegan thing is for me. And actually, like the competition, like bodybuilding, was more of a test for me for like, okay, how far can I get my body doing this vegan thing? Does it really work for me? So eventually, I did one in October. So I started in March. In October, I did that first competition, and it was funny to me because like all this time I saw this competition thing like something that was like really hard and almost not possible to do. And now that I was like vegan, I dropped body fat so quickly, and it was like easier than ever before.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, in my mind, I was like, I could have never reached this like shape or physique that I had at that moment if I would not have gone vegan. So yeah, for me that was like one hell of a boost to be like, okay, this is something it's really worth something. I was already talking about to people though, because at the time I had a girlfriend and she was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis at like a very young age, and I was like, well, you probably should go vegan. And eventually she did. At first she was like, no, I'm not gonna do it, because she was all about enjoying life, and if you want to enjoy life, you can't be vegan, right? That's the consensus. But right now she's changed, she's vegan, she's happier than ever, and she's not taking any medicine anymore.
That's awesome.
So that's awesome. But yeah, that was the consensus at that moment. But yeah, after the competition I was like, okay, this is really working, and I want to help more people with this. And I noticed that with doing like the competition and stuff, like people made more notice of what I was doing as a vegan as well, like being plant-based. It was an achievement for people to see that it worked, that it helped. So now for me, it's like, okay, I want to keep doing competitions just because I want to showcase something. I want to showcase the fact that you don't need me, and that is actually way better for you to totally drop like animal products, because in the long run you're just going to be healthier. You're going to be feeling better. You can enjoy life more actually, and you're going to be more aware of not only yourself but your surroundings. And it's funny how it changes your mind. Like for me, it was almost like I could call it that my mind was kind of cloudy at first, like before I started being vegan, and after that it like the clouds gone away, and it was just all blue skies and sunshine. But for real, it was like I'm like more aware of what I do, and like I'm more in the moment. And that brings me so much joy, next to being like feeling more healthy, feeling more energetic, and actually being able to build like also the physique I was always like kind of dreamt of, or wanted to be able to build as a natural athlete. And just notice that being plant-based and everything helped so much with that.
I think that's great, because just like you were saying, people have this image in their head of what a vegan looks like, and it's typically not what you look like,
No.
And that's the thing, like, when think about high school you, right? Like if you're seeing pictures of your current self, you would be like, oh man, this guy's vegan, that's cool. Like he is able to get the gains that he wants and get the physique that he wants, and like that's awesome. And I think to have those kind of role models is so important. And I think what you're doing is really great, because you are going to be able to reach more people, because you're actually, walking the talk. Showcasing something. Yeah. So did you say your friend is the one that introduced you to like the whole vegan lifestyle, or did you stumble across it? So when he brought it up, were you at first like, I don't know, or was it just, or you have to like watch like a documentary, or like did you need convincing?
Well, he mentioned it to me, and I was like, okay, I believe you, but I want to see it for myself. So and he immediately, before I even mentioned the fact that I wanted to see from he sent me something. He was like, okay, just watch this, and let me tell me about what you think about it. So he sent me a video from that was from Dr. Greger. That was his year in review from 2015. That was talking about like the 15 or 13 leading killers in medicine, or an evil 15 leading killers, like diseases that were that actually in America are like potent right now. So I watched the video, and it actually explained like how you could combat that or reverse all the diseases or even block it or just help yourself with not eating any more animal products and switch to a full plant-based diet. So that was really interesting for me. After that point, I was like, oh shit. So I'm here like shoving pounds of meat inside of me, and like, well, I probably should not be doing that anymore.
Right.
If I want to really be healthy and everything.
Because as a bodybuilder, you have to eat so much food. Like I've watched some of like your Instagram stories and things like that, where even as a vegan, you have to put down so much food to get those kind of workouts in to get the results that you want. It's insane.
It's a lot actually. You have to eat, and at first, the thing is that you really focus. When I was eating meat, I really focused on getting. I thought that like the protein that I needed to get, I could only get from meat, right? So that's a funny thing as well, that's not true, because eventually like protein that is inside meat is like recycled protein from plants eventually, because the animals eat the plants to make their own protein.
Right.
So yeah.
Is that probably one of the most, obviously that has to be the most common question that people are messaging you, or maybe your clients are messaging you? Like, what are some of the main questions besides protein? Because I feel like that's definitely going to be the main one.
That's a question for sure. Yeah, but besides protein, it's like okay, but like they normally ask, okay, but what do I eat? Just not worrying about the protein, but they say, okay, well, what can I eat? Because when they think about going vegan, going plant-based, they normally talk about, okay, well, I can only eat like tomatoes and lettuce, or they don't see like the full picture. And then I'm like, okay, what do you eat like normally through the day? And they're like, okay, like in the evening or at night when we're together with the family, I eat like, let's say, rice, some veggies, and some chicken. And I'm like, okay, well, if you just remove your chicken, that's already vegan, right? So you can still eat everything, but maybe replace the chicken with something else, let's say beans, lentils, or some mock meats, or some other source of protein, or you could just make more of a mix. Because I myself like to not use too much of the mock meats, because they're still processed. They're better than meat though, but it's still processed. So I like to just make a mix of like all kinds of different things, and also using like very voluminous vegetables, let's say spinach or bok choy, or just different kinds that don't have a lot of calories, but actually the macros that are inside are like only fiber and protein. Because so I make a mix of different ones and throw it all together. So and that's how I normally get all my protein. But so when they say where you get your protein, I like from everything, everywhere.
Right. No, for sure. It's crazy. It's just how we've been, trained all over the world to think that all food doesn't have protein. It's crazy, but I love what you're doing. Yeah. So you obviously started going vegan. You started having positive results with it. Obviously it was for health and the physical side maybe first, but did like an ethical side of it become more important as you went along, or was that important at the beginning? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, first of all, it was all about being more healthy for me, and being seeing if it like really worked. Because like the whole thing about me eating meat and eating the amounts that I ate was all about me thinking that I needed that to be healthy and to look good and to have like gains and everything. But so for me, it was like really important to me to experience like, okay, this is better for me actually. So in the beginning that changed. So I noticed that was better for me. I was like, okay, that's good. And eventually it was like, okay. Then I saw like the ethical part and about like not animals and like the earth as a whole. And was like, okay, like now driving past like trucks that have like pigs or whatever kind of animal that they're gonna slaughter. I'm always like, well, damn,
Yeah.
I don't really like that. It brings a kind of uneasy feeling inside. It's just like, okay, all these people just like I did in the past are eating all of this meat and animal products that they not only do not need, but at the same time deteriorates. Why did you say this word? Deteriorates their health at the same time. So they're not even there's no win in it for nobody actually. Only the mind that has been trained to think that is needed. That's the only one that's winning, and that one is not doing anything for you or anybody else. So yeah, for sure. Like now when I also like in the beginning, like my girlfriend wasn't vegan yet, and I made food for her, and sometimes I still made animal products. Now I don't do that anymore. Like never. Like if someone asks me to make a meal for them, or can you cook today, or this or that, I don't know. I'll never ever make anything that has animal products in it anymore, because the simple fact is that if it's not good, if it's not good enough for me, I'm not gonna give it to anyone else. Right. So that's how I think about it right now. And every time, yeah, I'm just seeing that the fact that animals, that they shouldn't be treated like slaves. Right. That's how that's how it is in my mind right now. Like when I see animals and how they be treated and everything, I was like, okay, well, actually, it's so stupid, because it's just slavery, actually, like how it was almost. And at the same time, when I see people eating, I'm like, okay, you're eating like cancer cells right now, or something like that. Like so yeah. Things like that pop into my mind. At the same time, when I think that way, I try not to be too aggressive about it, and try to keep my mouth shut a lot of times, because I notice that for me, it's way easier just to let people come to me, because of the physique that I have. If I was vegan or was not vegan, people always came to me and was like, okay, well, you look kind of jacked, or you look big, or how do you did this? How do you get that? And it's funny to see always when they're like, I'm like, well, you know what my best tip is to get like premium gains to go vegan. I'm like, no shit, yeah, for real? Yeah. I've been vegan for 1.5 years. Like, oh, for real? Okay, yeah. And then they're kind of interested, you know. So yeah, that's the way that works best for me right now, and just being like more on the downside about it, not too aggressive, and let people ask me the questions, because when I start talking about it, like a lot of people get annoyed because of the simple fact that they feel that their lifestyle is being attacked.
Right.
And yeah, that's never a good thing, because then they will just bring up defense mechanisms, and then they will not listen to what you're saying.
Yeah. So because people are defensive about their food choices.
Yeah.
It's one of the most. It's crazy, and I've talked about this a couple of times on the podcast, because it really is crazy how attached people are emotionally to what they eat. Yeah. And typically, it's like, you have obviously family members pass down how they eat from generation to generation. It's just, you don't want to be in the wrong, but and that's understandable. We all kind of understand that, and we've all been there, right? But yeah, it's just living by example and just giving everybody love and understanding, and knowing that you were there at one point too, and they'll come to you, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Just you've been there at one point too. That's a really important one to understand. Right. The whole time.
Yeah, and you're doing some positive work with a few of your friends, right? Do you want to talk about Health Lions?
Yeah. What I want to talk about Health Lions is it's the friend of mine that actually introduced me to like being vegan. We started Health Lions even before we were vegan, but it was always like focused on how to be more and more healthy, because we were always doing that. And with Health Lions, I started my personal training business, and that's actually the name of my personal training, is Health Lions Personal Training. And like through that, we let people try to showcase people what you need to do to be healthy and do good. So right now it's more of just me doing my personal training business, because my other friend that I'm doing it with is more busy with his work. Also also doing his Instagram, but he's not like in the work field as in personal training or online coaching as much. He does his own like few clients, this and that, and that he knows private. For me, it's like actual job that I actually do. So throughout that, I try to make everyone vegan. Actually, so let's say if a client comes to me and they were like, okay, I want to lose weight and I want to be healthy and I want to make more muscle or this and that, and I'm like, always like, okay, so how much do you want to do for it? That's my first question. And then they're like, okay, yeah, a lot. And they're like, okay, well, the best thing you can do is this. And they're like, okay. And like, yeah, what we could do first, mostly this works best, is like, okay, what we could do is just try transition. And then what I do is I give people a diet that consists of only like plant products, except for like the evening meal, like at night, where you eat together with the family or they eat out with friends. Because like the biggest like thing for a lot of people I notice is the social aspect, that when they are with other people, that they do not feel like they're being rejected by choosing something different, right? So that's what helps. And at the beginning, they actually, even though they might not at the first month be like, okay, now I want to go full vegan. Like just bringing down like the amount of meat and animal products they consume is better than nothing, and eventually they will notice. And that's the whole thing. Eventually, everybody will notice, because it's like the truth. So
Right.
before long, like they will all notice. And yeah, I'm just trying to be here and be a positive influence and help them, and not just because I want them to be vegan, because it's better for them themselves to be vegan. That's why. So
Right.
yeah, that's how I go about it.
No, that's awesome. And then obviously that's forming a community where they can just be with other like-minded people and grow. And like, how is that, just the importance of community been for you, whether it's been over social media or just the people you've connected with and grown with that are also vegan and lifting and trying to be healthier with that lifestyle?
For me, like the community and different people that I've been being, most of all, I've seen them like through social media, and like lately I've been in contact with different people, and right now I'm in the Instagram group, and I never really been that much connected with people that are also vegan. Yeah, right now I am like with the Instagram group, but before that I was talking to people like John Venus and Nima, I saw one time during what was it? It was like I forgot the name of the expo. It was in London. It was Veg Fest. Yeah, Veg Fest London, like last year.
Nice.
And after that, like John came to Holland for Veg Fest Holland, and he contacted me. It was like, oh yeah, let's train and let's work out. And I was like, okay, no problem, man, let's go. And we did a train together, and we talking and this and that, and yeah, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, good to meet someone that's like also lifting and trying to be a positive influence. And for me, like a lot of those people that do that are like a motivation for me, and the inspiration to see like, okay, well, this is how we can help and influence a bigger audience. That's how I see it. So it's always good to connect with those people and maybe see how we can do more work.
Yeah, no, I love that. Because I mean, you guys are definitely reaching a lot of people, and like I said, the more people that can follow, people like you and
Yeah.
John and Nima, those, you guys are just going to make a huge impact. And yeah, we talked about everything that you're doing, and is there anything happen in the future that you just want to put out there and share with people, or just continue to put out inspiring content and just try to reach as many people as you can?
Yeah. Well, it's something that I'm busy with right now, but it's more of a thing that's of importance for people that live around me, because I'm trying to start like a vegan restaurant. First of all,
Very cool.
we're gonna start with two friends of mine. We're gonna start with like a meal prep. But just to figure out a little bit about like the menu, this and that, what works, what doesn't work, and to create an audience beforehand. And after that, we're want to transition that to a restaurant where we do both. So yeah, because there's not a like 100% vegan restaurant right now in my city as well. And yeah, we want to change that. So that's something I'm busy with. And next, I just hope to inspire and be motivation for more people, to change and to see that it's possible. And yeah, just doing that online as it is right now, and that's what works for me like really good.
I love that, and that's exciting. I can't wait to follow along as you guys get the meal prep and the restaurant together. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then Puru, what is the best way for people to follow you on social media? That way they can keep up with everything that you're working on, keep up as you guys get that rolling, just anything that you put out there. What's the best way for people to follow you on social media?
Best way for people to follow me on social media is just to follow my Instagram. It's Puru Schout. And yeah, just follow me there because I put out stories and put out tips and recipes from time to time. And also like whenever these things start rolling, I'll put them out there as well. That's like the best way to follow me right now. Eventually, I'm also looking into going do some YouTube, but I'm trying to fit everything in right now as it is. So we're gonna see when that starts as well.
Perfect. Now I'll put that in the show notes. That way people can just go click and give you an ad. And so Puru, just closing question that I ask every guest.
Yeah.
But if you just had one piece of advice for the audience, maybe it's something that's been your biggest takeaway through your wellness journey so far, but if you just had one piece of advice to give, what would it be?
My piece of advice I would love to give is that try it before you knock it, because if you never been there, you don't know how it feels. And what I mean by that simply is that I never knew that I could feel this good if I didn't try it. And for me, how I felt beforehand was like, okay, that was my baseline. That was like, oh, I'm good. A lot of people, when you ask them like, how are you? They're like, I'm good. But they don't know how good they can actually feel if they do what is needed. So yeah.
I love that. That's perfect, Puru. And just thank you so much for taking time to come on. I loved having you. I can't wait to watch all the amazing work that you do. So just thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm grateful to be able to spread what knowledge I have and what messages I want to spread throughout this podcast. So yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you loved my conversation with Puru. He's doing so much positive work, so be sure to give him a follow on social media to keep up with everything that he's been working on. You can find his social media links that we talked about in the episode in the show notes, but you can also find them on my website as well at drkaseyjohnson.com. That's DrKaseyJohnson.com. Click on the Listen tab. Then from there, you'll be able to see all of the past guests that have come on the Unlock Wellness podcast, read a little bit about each guest, and be able to click on their social media links, websites, all of that. So all of Puru's information can be found on my site as well. If you guys loved today's episode with Puru, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Also, be sure to check out patreon.com/drkaseyjohnson to learn more about how you can support the Unlock Wellness podcast. Thank you guys so much again for tuning into today's episode. I hope you loved it. I hope it inspires you. And most importantly, I hope you take action.